Welcome to The Explainer. We're talking about India's tourism comeback today, and it is a huge story. But, it's probably not the one you've been hearing. Let's really get into what's going on.
So the big question is India's tourism industry really back on its feet? I mean, if you just look at the headlines, you'd think it's this massive across-the-board recovery. But once you start to peel back the layers, well, the real story is way more interesting and honestly, a lot more complex. It's really a tale of two completely different trends.
And wow, the contrast is just stark. The engine that's powering this whole comeback? It's almost entirely domestic. We're talking about Indians exploring their own country, and those numbers are up by a staggering 52.7%. On the flip side, foreign arrivals, they're still lagging, down almost 12% from before the pandemic. Just knowing that completely reframes how you have to look at this whole recovery story.
And this internal boom isn't just about filling up hotels and tourist spots. Not at all. It's actually become this incredibly powerful engine for the entire national economy. So let's break down just how big of a deal this is.
Okay, get this. The whole travel and tourism sector, it now makes up over 5% of India's entire GDP. Just let that sink in for a second. That's nearly back to where it was before the pandemic. And remember, this incredible rebound is being fueled almost completely by people traveling within the country. And it's not just about the money, right? The impact on people is just immense. This sector supports an incredible 84.6 million jobs. That's crore, of course, both directly and indirectly. To put that in perspective, that's over 13% of the entire country's employment. It just goes to show you how absolutely vital this industry is for millions and millions of families.
Okay, but here's where the story gets really fascinating. Think about this. Even with fewer international tourists actually showing up, the sector still managed to pull in a whopping $35 billion in foreign exchange last year. So how is that even possible? It all points to a really smart, deliberate strategy, focusing on high-value visitors, not just a high volume of them.
So yeah, how do you make more money with fewer people? Well, it all comes down to a really focused strategy. India is zooming in on a specific type of high-value tourism that brings in way more revenue per visitor. And honestly, it's turning out to be a total game changer. So what is this secret weapon? It's medical and wellness tourism. Yep, people are traveling to India not just to see the Taj Mahal, but for world-class, super cost-effective healthcare. And these aren't your average week-long vacationers. They tend to stay much longer and, you guessed it, spend a whole lot more money while they're there.
Now, when you look at this, you might think, okay, 6.5%, that doesn't seem like a huge piece of the pie. And at first glance, maybe not. But the real story here isn't the number itself, it's the trend. Think about it. Just over a decade ago, this was only about 2.2% of arrivals. So its share has pretty much tripled. That signals a massive, massive shift.
And if you want to see that shift in action, just look at this growth rate. Medical tourism is expanding at a compound annual rate of over 12%. That's almost 3 times faster than the growth of all other inbound tourism combined. So we're not just talking about growth here. This is pretty much an explosion in a really important high-value sector.
And the future potential here is just enormous. Right now, the market's worth about $8.7 billion. By 2030, it's projected to more than double to over $16 billion. So, yeah, this is way beyond just a little niche market. It's on a clear path to becoming a real global force.
Okay, so you see this success story in medical tourism. The big question is, how do you take that win and apply it across the entire industry? Well, it's a really carefully coordinated effort that involves a big national vision, but also really smart local execution. At its heart, the idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You have to obsess over the tourist experience. The whole national strategy is built around making every single touch point better, from the second a visitor arrives to the moment they head home. The end goal? To make travel seamless, safe, and consistently high quality. And what's really smart is that this isn't some one-size-fits-all plan dropped on everyone. The success is coming from the fact that different states are playing to their own unique strengths. So you've got Gujarat going all in on major infrastructure and big events. Then there's Kerala, leaning into its famous ecotourism brand. Sikkim is being super careful, managing visitor numbers to protect its incredible environment. And in places like Varanasi, they're pouring money into urban infrastructure to handle those massive crowds. It's a totally tailored approach, which makes sense for such a diverse country.
But okay, the vision here doesn't just stop with making what's already there better.
Now India is starting to look at entirely new frontiers, thinking about how to leverage its unbelievable natural assets in ways that frankly have never really been done before.
Just imagine this for a second. Huge, long-distance hiking trails, kind of like the Appalachian Trail in the US or the Camino de Santiago in Spain. But these are winding through the Himalayas or the Western Ghats. And this is so much more than just an adventure for hikers. It's about creating totally new, sustainable economies in remote areas, built around local guides, eco-lodges, and all sorts of community-run services.
And then there's another massive frontier, and this one lies just off the coast. I mean, with thousands and thousands of kilometers of shoreline, there is just this huge, untapped potential in what people are calling the blue economy.
So what does that mean? Well, a key piece of the puzzle could be building modern marinas. We're talking about purpose-built harbors for yachts and recreational boats, which are, well, they're almost non-existent in India right now. If they were developed, it could unlock a completely new, really high-value industry. Think sailing, diving, hosting international marine events. It could totally transform tourism along the coast.
So, when you put it all together, India's tourism story has clearly moved way beyond just recovery. This is a full-on strategic reinvention. It's being powered from the inside, it's laser-focused on high-value experiences, and now it's dreaming of brand new frontiers. Which leaves us with a really fascinating final thought. Could we be watching the birth of a completely new kind of tourism superpower?